Are you ready for LAUSD? Hey, school is in session. Let's go. Just pointing at each of you individually. Ladies and gentlemen, this is really exciting. And like I said, we've talked about Generation 180 before. This is part of a little bit of their Electrify Our Schools program. But the folks coming out here are really exciting. We've got Head of Transportation and Chief Eco-Sustainability Officer. Please make some noise for Daniel and Christos. Yes! Hello, welcome. Yes. Oh, Daniel, I have to give you this mic. Here we go. I know, sharing already one of the tenets of LAUSD. This is so exciting. I'm so happy you're here. I want to, I mentioned Head of Transportation, right? And Chief Eco-Sustainability Officer for LAUSD. Whoop, whoop. Very exciting. Your just title gets applause. People just go to your LinkedIn and applaud you. I wanna. You guys have such interesting backgrounds. Daniel, you're a former Marine who was a history major. You worked in aviation, and now you're the head of transportation at LAUSD. I love it. I love all those calls you probably had with your parents. You're like, no, now it's history. Now it's aviation. Now it's head of transportation. And Christos, you're an architect. And now you're the Chief Eco-Sustainability Officer. Can you briefly, how did the two of you end up here? What are you doing here?
Well, I think that's a great question, Esteban. And you know what? I wonder that myself sometimes. Actually, from a young child, I always look up to architects and architecture. It was something that I developed a passion for. And through that time, I took that journey because I wanted to create something. I wanted to create something for society. And I think that led me through going through school, graduating through architecture school, and then trying to always find something that was interesting and challenging to me. And that's what I like about architecture. I work for some different companies, which were quite exciting, and I work in the entertainment industry. I work in the residential industry, but something that struck me actually was more the educational side of the house. And I took a job with LA Unified about almost two decades ago, or 22 years ago. And that kind of created the interest because I felt I wanted to create something for the school district, something for the students. I wanted to kind of change some of the things that I was seeing before. I thought the schools deserved more at the time. And as I worked through that new development of developing new schools, I found myself being the director of architecture and engineering, energy and sustainability, and I felt that sustainability was underplayed. It was always thought as an afterthought in terms of the planning and design. And it was only about a year ago that they developed this new position as the Chief Eco-Sustainability Officer, and I said to myself, we can do better than this. Sustainability has to be on the forefront, and that's why I took this position. Thank you.
I love it. Thank you. So, Daniel, how did you get here?
Life, luck, open doors, closed doors.
Yeah. Perfect. Moving on.
No, just working in first job out of college. A Vietnam vet Marine called me out of the blue. I interviewed, nailed it, and kept growing in the transportation industry. Who's ever heard of transportation industry? Unless you're in it, it's one of those unknown industries that supports an economy, and then all of a sudden doors open, doors close, and I end up my wife's teacher, now an assistant principal, and I end up working for the same organization with her. And in short, part of it is I feel like I'm working for my own children, and then for all of Los Angeles' children. Oh, sorry.
Perfect. That's great. That's beautiful. I love it. Okay, LAUSD, it's the second largest school district in the country. Christos, can you just speak generally, like how are you thinking about combating climate change? What does that look like, the climate crisis?
Being the second largest school district in the nation, I think carries a lot of weight because the way I see it, you have a lot more responsibility than anything else. We have over, I would say, 1,200 schools and centers. We're educating approximately about a little bit over 400,000 students a year. We own over 80 million square feet of buildings, area. So you can see the impact that we can have on education, the immediate that we can have on our schools itself, but also the communities that we serve, right? So those kids that pass through school and they have siblings, you see, put the parents together. So really we have an impact on, I will say, in LA, with over a few million a year that passes through our school district, or at least hear about our schools. So so the impact is it's huge, and that's why we have a lot of programs and projects in place. And that's why we took an active role. I give a lot of credit to our Board of Education, our superintendent, who passed some really amazing resolutions the last 4 or 5 years, which set up the framework for the work that we're doing right now. And the impact it's great because we started with our transportation of the resolutions that we passed. It was to electrify LA Unified by 2030. That means that all the power that comes to our schools, it comes from a renewable source. And to have clean energy by 2040. That means that all the systems that we use, including transportation, all the different sectors, will become pretty much all through clean energy. So that's a big goal. And also to be able to green our schools by 2035 and to develop climate literacy to help to develop an educational culture for our students that they can be able to grow and become more environmental stewards. So we started with our transportation sector, and we kind of focused on 1,300 buses that we have on our bus fleet, and that was our first section that we started electrifying. And we are now, actually, we have over 71 electric buses. We have approximately about 35 charging stations, and our goal is to electrify all of our fleet by 2040.
That's, woo, 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 woo. That's a great, yeah, Daniel, can you speak to that? So you're electrifying the school buses. You 1,300 buses. That feels like a tall order. How are you thinking through that? What's that looking like?
So what I share with anyone who will listen, the buses are actually the easy part. Just ordering the buses, finding imaginary monopoly money out there, whatever I can do. The hardest part is the charging infrastructure. There's a misnomer out there that you buy an electric car, you get the charger, you install it in your garage, but once you start doing it on a scale of 50, 100, 300 buses in a yard, it impacts the local grid. So that's where we depend on the architects, engineers, our facilities partners to figure out the how. And we're currently in that how stage right now. So I believe we are soon to break ground on our first bus yard, and in 2 years it should be done and operational. And I believe we are still headed towards LA 28. There's this thing called the Olympics. Yeah, coming soon to LA, and we are partnering with other local agencies to deliver LA's best. And we don't have the best public transportation system as many cities do across the world, but we do have many, many buses, and we're trying to bring them all on electric.
So the Olympics people would be in LAUSD school buses?
Partially, yes.
Wow. In like cute yellow buses.
That's the plan.
That's so good. What a vision. You're sitting there just like going to win a gold medal on a bus, zoning out. But
it'll be a quiet and clean, sustainable ride.
That's so good.
All right.
I know you mentioned your wife is teaching, your daughter is an LAUSD student. I mean, do you like, is she in here? Is she like, hey, Dad, work on my bus?
So oddly and out of nowhere, right? My children don't take the bus. My wife transports them to her school. But out of nowhere during dinner, she just asked me and said, hey, Dad, when are you getting rid of the diesel buses? And I dropped my spoon. And I felt like I had a board member with me at my dinner table. And I said, hey, well, that's the plan. That's the plan. But, we got to take the right appropriate steps. And I just can't buy the buses. I need the charging infrastructure. And not just at our bus yards. That's easy. I need them everywhere. I love that she's holding you accountable. That's really good. Yes. She's like, show me the paper trail. 100%.
That's so good. I have one small gripe that I might have to share. For me, I don't know, for people in the audience, a pivotal part of high school was you're standing in the schoolyard and buses are going and you're like trying to flirt with girls and you're yelling. You know what I mean? Like, did everyone like be like, will you go to prom with me? And do you think, what will happen to flirting, Daniel? how will Melissa try to read my lips to know that I want to go to prom with her?
Okay, so I have some good news to share. The drivers, students, parents, they all love their electric buses on the road. And one of the first things they notice is all the heat, the noise, the exhaust, it's all gone. And some of them even said it's almost like driving a golf cart. Kids are whispering, they don't need to compete over the engine noise. The driver's at peace because now he doesn't have to zone out all the noise from the children and just pay attention to the road. And overall, at the end of the day, we are not adding pollution to our local environment, to our communities, and especially we're not adding pollution to our children.
They don't have to yell at each other anymore.
They're gonna now just whisper flirt,
Right.
which feels better flirting. Like, do you want to go to prom? Feels better than prom. Prom. Love it. Perfect. You've been asked these questions before. Board member is saying this to you as well. Christos, okay, you mentioned 100% clean renewable energy by 2040. And you mentioned the scale that you're operating. Can you speak to some of the solutions, like solar or LED lighting? Like, what are the things happening now, and what are the things that will need to happen for us to reach this goal?
Yeah, we're taking immediate action. We're not waiting to come up with the perfect plan, right? So because we know that there's so many things we should be doing and everyone should be doing at the same time. But for our schools, we look at facilities, we look at the systems that we have our own facilities. For example, our mechanical systems, we're converting HVAC systems or replacing them now with all electric. So we use heat pump technology, the same with our water heaters. We are looking at pretty much just about any system that you have, the lighting, replacing our lighting with all LED lights just to create more energy efficiency. We're looking at our controls, replacing our system controls to be more smart and being able to operate only when they need it or they're in use. We're looking at, besides the building, we're looking at our kitchens. Our food services division is very excited because we're discussing now having all electric kitchens, which, that technology is quite amazing, and you're going to probably see it at your homes as well. Better meals, healthier meals. So we're looking at that. We're looking at health and safety. We're trying to reduce waste at the same time. And pretty much we're looking at solar. Solar is a big one because the actual solar industry right now, while we we have 68 sites with producing about 20 megawatt of solar. Our plan is actually next month, we're going to be taking another 15 megawatt of solar to the board for approval. And our plan is to continue doing more solar, more renewable energy on our schools to meet our 2030 goal. So all these are in line, and we're working on a plan, on a comprehensive eco-sustainability plan that's going to cover all the divisions within LA Unified. So everyone will have a plan of how we can be able to achieve the 2030 and the 2040 milestones. So we're excited for that.
That's so good. And people were clapping at heat pumps and at solar. It was like you were listing bands and people were like, yeah, I saw heat pumps on a side stage in Coachella.
That's right.
I also know LAUSD is, you guys are inspiring other school districts. Do you want to share one quick anecdote before we wrap about how this isn't just the district itself, it's inspiring change elsewhere?
And that's very inspirational. It happens a lot. Actually, this is not just the only time that it happened, but, I try to help out a lot of the student task force. And about a few years ago, I was actually inspiring some of the students that they're part of what's called the Health Rights Watch. And this student task force, it's actually compromised. It's actually between different school districts or surrounding school districts within California. And I was sharing how we were able to achieve our how we're planning and pass our resolution for 2030 and 2040 clean energy. And they're asking me how can they get there. We share the information with them. And sure enough, a year later, it just happened to be in a summit where I was happening to be sitting in the audience and seeing those kids coming up on stage to share their story of how they achieve clean energy or pass the resolution at the Long Beach Unified School District. And I was just sitting, listening to their stories and how passionate they were. It was very touching for me. It really brought tears to my eyes because you could see now that the work has been amplified, The work is being repeated in other school districts, and everybody's trying to do the right thing for our planet. So I was very thankful for that.
That's incredible. So the folks at it was student-led at Long Beach, inspired by the conversations that they were having with you
That's
and
right.
with LAUSD.
Yeah.
That is so cool. Okay, so some of us are not students. Closing thoughts is like, what can people do if they want to get involved? Especially maybe if someone isn't in the school system, but they're advocating for this. Maybe they're parents or soon-to-be parents or whatever that looks like. How do you people eventually seeing this, watching? What can people do?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'll say that to everyone because I think everybody asks the same question, how are we going to be a part of this? Well, for us, we have actually a great website, and we developed this website because we wanted to make sure we provide transparency on the work that we do. If you go to our website, it's lausd.org/ESO for Eco Sustainability Office, and you're going to be able to see there all the different initiatives that we have. And you can actually, even on that side, you can search and find how can I be a part, or how can I help support the initiatives that we have, and we can give you information, we can provide you information with, and please go on the website because you're going to see all the great work that we have. It can be part of the solution. So thank you.
I love it. And Daniel, how can people think about getting involved? They want to join the fight. They want to know what's happening.
I think the other resource would be electrifierschools.org through Gen180. They're the nonprofit organization. They're just gathering all the school districts across America and just try to kindle this fire and start this movement forward. Fortunately for Christos, myself, and LAUSD, we are the forefront. And we're going to do our best to share our best practices, our lessons learned, and try to replicate and amplify as much as we can.
Yeah, we're going to do our best to not disappoint your daughter at the dinner table. That's the guiding principle. Also, I'm so sorry that I didn't dress up. I want to acknowledge I look like a...
Well, Esteban, you don't have a 9-to-5 job. Remember that, okay?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you don't, Esteban.
Yeah. All right. Well, the good news is Jimmy looks like an 8th grader.
I do.
So he's... The good news is Jimmy's here. He's doing Pippin in the High School Musical, which is really exciting. Christos, Daniel, thank you so much. Please give it up. Find out LAUSD.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Pleasure. Thank you so much.
All right. That was so great. Jimmy,